Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. And today we're doing something a little bit different with the release of The Batman. Obviously, Robert Pattinson becoming the latest addition to the Batman family. I want to talk about and rank the 10 Batman actors I'm familiar with. Um, this is live action. There's two voice actors, Kevin Conroy and Will Arnett. David Mazouz of the TV show, and the rest are from live action. Obviously, Adam West, obviously being the TV's Batman. So, bit of a mixture. And yes, I can rate them against each other because of their voice, how the movie was portrayed, the story, the characters, the villains. So, yes, there'll be a few controversial things in this because certain people, prefer Bale or Affleck or Pattinson or Keaton or Kilmer. I think everyone agrees with Clooney, but obviously you have thrown a few different names in there that will probably trump others that you don't expect. So, if you enjoy these types of videos, be sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, comment anything else you want to see. If you want to talk about the Superman actors, the three Spider-Man, uh, you know, the Hulks. We've had four iterations of that I can think of, going all the way back to Lou Ferrigno, the Ed Banner, Edward Norton, sorry, and obviously the rest of them, Mark Ruffalo, and any other ones that you could think of comparing the X Men characters, my favorite X Men comparison to the old and the new cast. Leave it down below if you want to see it. And obviously, I'm going to touch on mild story stuff, to get my point across. So spoilers ahead of you. I've not seen anything from Adam West TV shows in the 60s. If you haven't played the Arkham games or the TV show, or you haven't seen the Lego Batman movie, if you haven't seen the modern day Batmans in the Dark Knight trilogy, DC Universe, or the new Batman, I recommend you don't watch it until you have. Or if you just want to hear some, rankings, stay for the journey. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. So I'm going to immediately say this. I have never seen anything to do with Adam West. I've seen clips, snippets. I'm familiar with Adam West. I'm familiar with what he does. Um, he was, it was brought to. There was a couple of Batman before him, in the early 40s. I think 30s as well. I never watched them. I never probably will. Maybe one day we'll see. But the furthest I go back is Adam West. Adam West is, people who think made Batman, and they'll be correct. He technically should be in the top five, but because I've never seen anything, because I think the outfits are goofy, I think the whole pow, kaboom, the cartoony stuff makes it really goofy. So I'd say Adam West is number 10 on my list. From what I've heard, they have one of the greatest Joker actors in the ever. The Riddler. They have great villains, but I prefer more the modern stuff from Keaton to Pattinson. So he'll be 10th on my list, and then ninth. And this is no disrespect to George Clooney. George Clooney is ninth on my list. I thought he did a very good job in comparison to what people think. I thought the costume was brilliant, the visuals were brilliant, the villains, he had a great time being part of Batman and Robin. It was the great films, all of them. They all class like standalone films, in the 80s versions. This came out, I could be wrong, 89. But I thought, Batman and Robin was a fantastic film. George Clooney did it very well. He's not as good as Keaton and Kilmer in that period, but he still did a good job for me. But don't deserve to be any higher on this list. And I do recommend you go check out George Clooney's variation. He says he should never have put the costume on. He should never have taken the role. But I'd say he did a good job. To say he's the most random pick ever for a Batman, but Robin Pattinson's the same. He's a random pick technically, but did it justice. And we'll go into that as well. But yeah, go check out his movie for sure. Batman and Robin, you'll not regret it. It's a good film. So we jump into eighth, and this is where controversial going into it. I don't think this guy in particular was it was very good, but he's not as good as everyone thinks. He's not on the same level as Bale, for example. Michael Keaton is eighth on my list. He did a very good job. He was in for Batman, and I think it was Batman Returns he was in, because Batman Forever was Kilmer. But yeah, he did two films, great villains, great costume, great score. Yeah, it was brilliant. But Keaton's never. been much of a fond actor of mine. I watched the Batman movies. I think of Keaton, because he's the guy who recreated Batman. He brought Batman back, but he just didn't. He didn't do as much for me as Kilmer. When I think of the '80s guys, you got Kilmer, Keaton, and Clooney. Clooney was the letdown of the three, but he still did a good job. Keaton's the one everyone expects to pick, but I think Kilmer did better. Hence why Kilmer is seventh on my list. Val Kilmer was fantastic. He's everything I thought about a Batman. Um, he was just brilliant. I'm not going to go too much of story because I'm going to be reviewing these films very soon. So I want to give my opinion when I watch them again. But I think Kilmer did a better job than Keaton, and he was in one film. Um, I don't know the reasons of. I think Kilmer was meant to do Batman and Robin originally, but I can't remember what happened. But yeah, they are the bottom four. The four you'd probably expect to be at the bottom. And yes, I do say Kevin Conroy and Will Arnett and David Mazouz all do deserve to be above them because, yes, they were fantastic for the 80s. They revolutionized what Batman was. They made Adam West Batman look so much better. They brought fans back to Adam West. They're the reason why people will know who Adam West is, I think, because they made Batman cool. They made the suit sick and awesome. The villains more serious. You had Mr. Freeze in this period. You had Penguin, Catwoman, Riddler, Tooth. It was phenomenal. Oh, we went to sixth place on the list, and it is Lego Batman himself, Will Arnett. I just think there is why I include him in this list because his voice is so cool. He actually captivates the essence of being Batman. His odd screen appearance, in that funny comedy skit with Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill, I thought was excellent. And how he goes, "I'm Lego Batman." I thought it was really funny. He had the vibes of Lego Batman. I thought his movie was brilliant. His involvement with Lego movies. Um, I just think he's a very well polished Batman. There was no issues with him. I loved the whole arc with the Joker in his film. Yeah, he's a perfect pick for the Lego Batman. I hope when the company that's in charge of Lego films now do bring you back because I'd love to see him in another film. I think we were meant to get a Lego Batman 2, but the Lego deal ended, so that was the end of that. And then we go into number 5. This guy could have easily been higher because 5 seasons of Gotham, wearing the costume in the finale episode, his relationship with Alfred and Gotham's police department, every villain. David Mazouz was phenomenal in this series. He transitioned to a little scared kid to being someone who became Batman in the last couple of seasons. He was using gadgets and becoming, he was doing undercover work. His fights against the Joker and other villains that came to the town. He could easily have been number one on this. I think they did a film series based on David Mazouz's Batman. You'd absolutely love it, I think he deserves so much respect for what he did to captivate Bruce Wayne's story in 5 seasons. Yeah, there was a few bits where they were going back and forth, with Riddler and Penguin and Gordon and Bullock. And, there was storylines that were very meh at times. The whole Ra's al Ghul story I absolutely adored. Alfred, him stabbing Alfred, turning bad for a period of time. He truly brought the good, the bad, the everything about Bruce Wayne out. The playboy side to him, the youth side to him, the elderly side to him, the relationships between Catwoman and Ivy. It was truly incredible to watch him for 5 years on our screen. And he'll always be a Batman legend to me. And not many people would have watched Gotham. Not many people would have watched the entirety of Gotham because I will just say random stuff that makes sense. You get to see him go for every villain, every body that sets him up to be Batman. And I think it's a work of art, Gotham. With a few issues here and there, but it's polished to an extent. Heading to top 4, top 4 is kind of obvious in many ways, and this guy deserves to be 4th. Kevin Conroy, the voice of the TV series, and obviously Batman's Arkham Asylum City Night, I think Origins, a voice. He is brilliant. He captivated why I love the Arkham games. He brought three of the best games I've ever played. I've played so many games, and it's not the best games ever. They're just so fun. The fact they elevate each game, and including a guy like Kevin Conroy to deliver such crazy lines, you know. Um, I just think he made the Arkham games fun. They were fun anyway, but having someone who sounded so much like Batman brought that role alive. You know, you saw him in Arkham Asylum. He was very limited. As City, he elevated. Night, he elevated. And his dialogue relationship with Mark Hamill was absolutely brilliant. One I will always remember in a video game. So, and now we obviously head into the toughest part of the Batman actors. You know, the way I rank this is, I think who's the best Batman? Who's the best Bruce Wayne? In many ways, David Mazouz is one of the best Bruce Waynes you'll ever see on a screen. But these three captivated a good mixture of everything. They are the best three Batmans you're ever going to get. And I'm going to put it down to this. This guy definitely had the best films ever as a collective. I'm not comparing it to the Batman yet. Christian Bale is third on my list. He's a phenomenal Batman, not the best Batman. And he's a phenomenal Bruce Wayne, but not the best Bruce Wayne. His films are so amazing with such incredible villains and story and side characters and connectivity and a great finale in Dark Knight Rises being one of my all-time favorite superhero films. I just think he captivated so well, but he didn't do it as good as Affleck or Pattinson. And that will always be my case. People will say, how is he not better than Affleck? And I'll say this now. Affleck is second on my list. And that is simply because he is insanely good in Justice League, the 4-hour cut. Watch him in that, then you'll realize how good of a character he is. Watch him in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. He's fantastic as Bruce Wayne. He's great as Batman as well. His relationship with Alfred in that film. I have no issues with Batman v Superman apart from Jesse Eisenberg's role is a bit Doomsday is a bit but I still to this day wish we had got a standalone film for Affleck. But on the Bale argument, the films could have been good. I think if Affleck was in that film, the film still would have been phenomenal. If Pattinson was in the film, it'd still be phenomenal. And Bale, taking nothing away from Bale, Bale did a phenomenal job. Will always be someone I love watching on screen. He's absolutely phenomenal as Batman. He just lets himself down with the Bruce Wayne side a little bit, but he's still very good at Bruce Wayne. But yeah, second on my list, Ben Affleck. I absolutely adore this guy. He's built like Batman. You look at him on screen, he's built like the Arkham games. He has that presence when he's Bruce Wayne that he actually looks like Bruce Wayne. He's when I watched him in Batman v Superman, I loved him in it. When I watched the Justice League, the original 2.5-hour cut, the Joss Whedon one, I still really enjoyed it. It's a really good film. It's no way near on the same level as Justice League Zack Snyder cut because Zack Snyder included everything that actually made the film make sense. Batman's relationship with Flash and Cyborg and Wonder Woman and Superman. Ben Affleck was born to play Batman, and it's absolutely disgusting the way they treated him. He should have had his Batman film, then Batman v Superman, be the guy who forms the Justice League with some of the best actors and characters in the DC universe, and go from there. Again, but I always say, as happy as I'm with what we got from Affleck, I'm as sad because there's so much potential there. We are going to see him in Flashpoint, but I've heard we're going to see him die, so that's obviously a huge shitter. But gotta be, we got Pattinson, so, and he is my favorite Batman. I think Ben Affleck is the best and greatest in this role that we'll ever get. But because of the hype, because of what I saw in the new film, I truly think he trumps everybody because of the darkness he brought, the roughness he had in the look of Bruce Wayne. He's been He's been Batman for 2 years. You see the toll it's taken him as Bruce Wayne. We didn't really get that from Bale or Ben Affleck or any of the others for that matter. Um, I just think he sold it so well. His suit was so lush. Ben Affleck has the best Batmobile, I will say that. But Pattinson had a cool car, cool villains, cool story, and what is the best Batman film. Dark Knight Rises is the easiest to watch, I think, if you're watching a Batman film. But full credit to Pattinson because Ben Affleck would have been my number one pick on this list every time because he just captivates the role so well. And I want to say how close it is between Bale, Ben Affleck, and Pattinson. They all did the role justice. All their films are very different. So you can't even compare the films, in my opinion. It just depends what you prefer. There's a difference with saying that. What's your favorite Batman film? Which is the best? I think the Batman is best for being a psychological thriller that is a detective film. Whereas if you look at the Dark Knight films, they are cult films. League of Shadows, they're a cult wanting to take over Gotham, and then they had the puppets like Bane. And then obviously number two, Dark Knight is sort of a psychological thriller. But then obviously you look at Ben Affleck's films, it's the DC world, him and Superman. So yeah, I just think Patterson deserves number one spot for everything. He was perfect, Batman. I don't see many issues, and I think he brought this to life. And I'm so glad he did because it's someone I was always praising for from the second he got casted, but people just hated on for no reason because they can't give people a chance. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. Do you think Pattinson is the best Batman? Do you think Bale should have been number one? I would say the top three you can put in any order, but my favorites are Pattinson, Ben Affleck, then Bale. Um, do you think West should have been higher? Do you think Keaton should have been higher? It's up to interpretation. It's who you enjoy on the screen and who you think actually is the best. If you're a comic reader, if you're a game player, if you've seen enough content for the Batman, you will know Affleck is the perfect Batman. If we're talking about the perfect Bruce, then you'd probably go down the routes of Keaton, Pattinson in a rough state, Kilmer. I don't think Clooney did that good of a Bruce. Dave Mazouz was good as Bruce. Obviously the voice actors you can't really class as good Bruce's. West, I've never really seen him as Bruce, to be fair. So there's your argument. The best Bruce is probably Keaton, or even Ben Affleck. I think Ben Affleck is phenomenal as Bruce. And the best Batman is Batman. If you want me to see me rank my favorite villains by actors throughout the whole of Gotham, the DC Extended Universe, the Dark Knight trilogy, and before that, let me know and I'll make that video. But if you don't agree, that's your choice. That's your opinion. Everyone's gonna have their own opinions on who their favorite Batman is. We've all grown up with different eras. We've all grown up with different films. I grew up with Dark Knight trilogy. I watched the 80s films. I grew through the DC Extended Universe, and I'm watching the Batman. And I watched Gotham in that period as well. I've grown up with every iteration of Batman, and I'm gonna get around to watch Adam West. So this may get updated eventually. Maybe when I've seen Patterson in one more Batman film, you'd be able to have an understanding of is he actually the best. It takes two films, I think. We've seen every other variant in two films, bar Clooney and Kilmer. Sorry, I lied to you. But yeah, let me know anything else you want to see on the channel as well, external to what we spoke about. Hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you enjoyed what you heard, and take care. See you next one. Goodbye.